Hello everyone, welcome to our new video of Angular from Scratch series. So in the last video we discussed about the Angular and what are the dependency prerequisites of Angular to create your first project, and we created our first project and we ran it successfully. And now in this video we will be discussing about the project structure. So this is the project that we created in our last video, my first app. And this is all are the folder and files that Angular CLI created for us. So let's go ahead and discuss them one by one. So the first one is .angular. So basically this folder is a hidden internal folder which is created by Angular CLI, and it is used to store the Angular CLI related cache and build information to make your code a little bit faster. Okay, so this is just for the performance purpose which is used by Angular, so we do not deal much with it, so we can just let it there as is. And the second one is node modules folder. So this is a very important folder. So the purpose of this folder is to hold all the npm packages or dependencies used in our Angular project. Okay, so basically inside this folder all the dependencies are stored which is required to run our project. So when we run npm install, it the Angular checks all the dependencies that we have mentioned in package.json file. We'll be discussing about the package.json file also. It is there. It checks for all the dependency in the package.json file and install all of them inside this node modules folder. Okay, it includes all the libraries like the common libraries of Angular like Angular core, Angular form, etc., and all the third-party library also which we install. So that is the purpose of node modules folder. Now the third folder is src folder. Okay, so this is a source code folder for our project where all of our source code is present. Okay, so this basically contains all these inside it, like app, assets, and some default icon, and the main index.html file, main.ts file, and main styling file. So this is the app folder where our actual code resides. This is the assets folder where you can keep your static like images, your translation files, and any other assets kind of thing that you want. You can store them inside this assets folder. So this is just an icon, nothing else. This is the main index file, which is the inside this file our app root tag is mentioned. Basically app root tag is the main tag. If you go inside this app.component.ts, you will see this is the app root selector. So basically we are rendering this whole component in this index.html file. So Angular is a single page application, so only this HTML gets rendered, and dynamically all the content will be rendered inside this app root tag. Now this one is the main.ts file. This is basically the app entry point. It basically bootstrap the Angular application. If you open it, you will see that it is basically bootstrapping your app component. Okay, so bootstrapping means it is basically injecting your app component here dynamically. Okay, this is done by Angular. And this is the style.scss file where you will be defining all your common CSS and variables inside this file. Okay, now this one is the editor config. This is just used for maintaining the consistent coding style for across your different editors and IDEs. So you will not be dealing much with it, so we can ignore it for now. And the other one is .gitignore. Basically when you will create your application, you will write the code and then you will be pushing it to your any repository like GitHub or Bitbucket, anywhere. So in this file you can define all those folder and files which you can ignore. For example, slash dist is defined here, so right now it's not present here, but when you build your project, so .dist folder is also created, which basically stored your compiled project or your build project, which you basically deploy to the production environment or anywhere. When you deploy your project, the dist folder code is only deployed because that is the compiled version of your code. So here they have provided it inside this gitignore file slash dist. That means all code, when we commit all code, so git will ignore this slash dist folder. Git will ignore slash tam. Git will ignore git will ignore node modules folder also, because we can't push this node modules to the GitHub repository because it is very huge in size. When you pull latest code, someone pull your code, so they can just do npm install, and all of these dependencies which is inside this package.json will automatically install inside their local workspace, and this node modules folder will be generated again. So that's why we ignore it. So that is the purpose of gitignore file. We can define other folder as well. So now let's come to the angular.json. So this is the workspace configuration file for Angular CLI. So basically you are creating a workspace and you are creating a project. So you define your configuration of your whole workspace here, how it works. Okay, so like if you open this file, you will see different properties here. Okay, it defines your schema, it defines your project type, what is the type of your project, where are your styles, and what is the source root of your project, where your code resides, and what will be the prefix that you will be using. Okay, and what is the output path, basically when the build completes, when you want to, where you want to put your application. So as I just told you, inside dist folder it will place the compiled version or build project there. So all these properties we define inside this. So that is angular.json. Okay, so let's move to the next one. It's package.json. So the package.json is basically contains your project metadata and dependency and scripts. Basically it's the heart of the Node.js and Angular project, because it defines all these dependencies inside it which you require to run your project. So it contains the scripts. Basically like when we run our project, we do ng-serve. So basically we define these scripts, that what ng-serve npm start command does. Okay, so you can define different scripts also here. And we have the dependencies and the dependencies. The dependencies are those which will be used in the production environment. Find the final dependencies that will be used in any environment you deploy. Okay, so this is for environment, and this is the dev dependencies. Basically these are used when you are working on the development mode. So this is the heart of our Angular project. So this file is very important. And the another one is package-lock.json. So this looks very similar to the package.json, but it is also an important file because it logs the exact version of every dependencies and their sub dependencies, and it ensures that the build is consistent across different machine as well. So do not edit it manually, because this is automatically generated every time when you run npm install. So if you delete it and you will run an npm install, it will be generated by Angular CLI again, checking all the dependency here and then locking them inside this package-lock.json file. Okay, so the another one is tsconfig.json. It is the root of the TypeScript configuration. So when you write Angular code, so Angular is a TypeScript-based framework. Basically we use the TypeScript language here. Okay, so in this file we define the TypeScript configuration that provides base setting for our Angular projects and its sub configs. Okay, so all these kind of thing we define inside this. Now tsconfig.app.json. So this is for whole project, but this tsconfig.app.json is specifically for your compiling code, your app inside your app. So this is mainly for this folder, and basically it inherit common setting from tsconfig.json and used only during the app build. When you run ng build, so it is used only that time. It exclude the test cases and other special file. It only consider your main code which is present inside a app folder, excluding the test cases. Okay, so the next one is tsconfig.spec.json. So like the previous one, tsconfig.app.json, it uses for this app only. So this one basically used to compile the unit test. Only this is mainly for the test cases only. So we have, when we create different file with spec.json, if you open this app folder, you will see a file called app.component.spec.ts. Okay, so this is the place where you define all your test cases. Okay, so this is for this only app, main app component. And the last one is this readme.md file. This is basically a documentation file where you define and describe about your project, important thing that we should keep in mind, how to run the application, how to install the dependencies and all, so that anyone can read this file and can set up their project, can set up this project on their machine. Okay, and any other useful information if you want to provide, you can provide inside this readme.md file. So that was all about the folders and files present inside our Angular app. So I hope you understood it. So now see you in the next video where we'll be creating our first Angular component.